I had spent weeks planning the perfect proposal. Every little detail had been thought out carefully, down to the flickering candlelight at the restaurant, the hidden photographer capturing the moment, and the engraved ring that held the promise of a lifetime. I loved her more than anything in this world, and I was certain she felt the same. We had been together for 3 years, had shared countless memories, and had even talked about our future together more times than I could count. That night, I felt a mix of nervousness and hope, convinced it would be the happiest night of my life. Earlier that day, I went to pick up the ring. As I held the small velvet box in my hands, my fingers trembled. It felt surreal, almost as if I were holding our entire future, that single piece of metal and diamond representing everything we had built and everything I thought we would continue to build. Afterward, I went back to the apartment to get ready. I slipped into the suit she had once said made me look dangerously handsome. Every piece of it had to be perfect. The suit, the restaurant, the setting. This was the moment I had been waiting for. As I turned to leave, something caught my eye. She had left her phone on the couch, just lying there. Without thinking, I reached for it to take it to her. But as I lifted the phone, it lit up with a message from her best friend. Out of habit, I glanced at the preview, then my breath caught in my throat. "You're still saying no tonight, right?" Confused, I opened the chat, my heart already racing. The words that followed felt like a punch to the gut. "He's going to ask me to marry him tonight. Just watch me say no." My chest tightened instantly. It was like everything, the plans, the excitement, the nerves, came crashing down around me. I could feel my hands begin to shake, but not from the thrill of love. It was the sting of betrayal, raw and sudden. I read the message over and over, hoping somehow I had misinterpreted it. But it was clear. She knew. She was expecting me to ask, and she was planning to humiliate me. For a few moments, I just sat there, frozen, staring at the screen. My mind was spinning, a whirlwind of thoughts that didn't seem to make sense. Why hadn't she told me how she felt? How could I have been so blind? Was I just a joke to her all along? I thought about confronting her immediately, throwing the ring into her hands and walking away. I was tempted, so tempted, to end it all right then. But something held me back. No, I needed her to feel this. I needed her to know what it was like to be blindsided. So I went ahead with the plan. I picked her up as if nothing had changed, smiled, and pretended to be the same man I was when the day began. The man in love, full of dreams for our future. She didn't suspect a thing. She looked beautiful, just as I had imagined, and that only made this so much harder to bear. But I had a new plan now, one that didn't include proposal. At dinner, she was glowing, laughing, flirting with me, probably already rehearsing her rejection in her head. The photographer I had hired was sitting a few tables away, camera ready to capture the magical moment, but he had no idea what kind of photo he would be taking tonight. The dessert arrived, and the moment was upon me. I stood up, my hands sweating as I reached into my pocket. She gasped slightly, her eyes widening with a fake surprise. I could see it in her expression. She was ready for the rejection, already mentally preparing her no. The whole restaurant was silent, waiting for the grand moment. But instead of pulling out the ring, I pulled out her phone. I raised it high, reading the message aloud, clear for everyone to hear. "He's going to ask me to marry him tonight. Just watch me say no." The room gasped, and I saw her face turn pale, her smile dropping. She looked like she had been struck, her confidence evaporating in an instant. I stood up slowly, the weight of the moment sinking in. I slipped the ring box back into my pocket and locked eyes with her, cold and steady. "You didn't have to pretend," I said, my voice calm but firm. "You could have just told me the truth." Without waiting for her to speak, I turned and walked away. The entire restaurant watched in stunned silence, the eyes of strangers boring into her as I disappeared through the door. I didn't look back. Not once. The cool night air hit me like a shockwave as I stepped outside. It should have been the worst night of my life, the night where everything I thought I knew came crashing down. But in a strange, almost liberating way, I felt lighter. For the first time, I wasn't carrying the weight of her unspoken lies. I wasn't clinging to something that was never meant to be. I went home, poured myself a drink, and sat in the quiet of my living room. There was no more pretending, no more false hopes, just a bitter taste of truth, and the beginning of something new, something better. Even though I couldn't see it just yet, I knew it was the start of something else. The messages began flooding in soon after, apologies, explanations, begging for another chance. But it was too late. The moment she decided to mock my love behind my back, she lost any right to stand beside me. In the end, she had given me the best gift she ever could: clarity. I was no longer the one waiting to be loved. I was the one walking away, leaving behind someone who never truly deserved me.